Thank you so much for having me here this evening. It's so wonderful to be amongst the company of so many women who are already so accomplished, but clearly all of us are also still looking for meaning. And I know that's always been a constant question in my life. I'd like to talk a little bit tonight about story. Because of those of you who are doing meaningful work already, there's a story behind it. And for those of you who are seeking that meaning, there's a story that you know, or you don't know yet, can be uncovered within you. And I want to talk about that today. So, Pamela's story. Here I am. You can barely see me, but I'm here on your right, and I'm very much a tomboy. My father's so worried about me, and he's just like, I was so glad when you turned 16, so I was so worried about you. I had buck teeth, I couldn't close my mouth, I had braces for years, I'm wearing an Izod khaki pants, and I just had this really short hair. And when I had to tell you, when I went to the orthodontist, they said to my mom, Miss Hawley, we'll do what we can. So, very confidence inspiring. But you can see now, I can close my eyes. So, with my story, here we are in Mexico, beautiful family. My parents have been married 50 years. We're a very close family. And it's just been an absolute joy. And we're in Mexico. And, you know, we go from this cruise ship to this cul-de-sac. My dad and I were on the cruise ship, we're coming off, we're in a marketplace, we're around all these sombreros, and around all of these tostadas and the smell of just wonderful kind of tourist vacation. But we veered down this cul-de-sac and changed my life at the age of 12. My life was over at the age of 12 in the way that I knew it. Because the minute I came down that cul-de-sac is when my life story happened. Because in my mind, in that cul-de-sac, that's what came into my mind, unacceptable. Children were starving, handling, handicapped, unwashed for months. And I just looked at my dad and I said, how could you not tell me about this? And he looked down at me and he said, honey, you're only 12. When do you tell your children about this? How do you keep them inspired? How do you let them know about the world but also live a joyful life? My parents did a very good job of that. They let me come into my own story. But for me, it was unacceptable, and from that time on, there was no turning back. I started volunteering in East Palo Alto, working, handing out sandwiches, and trying to speak Spanish, and helping get clothing for people. And it was so important to me to help serve in any way. One of the ways that I found with my story in life is that I'm causeless. I don't have a cause. If it needs to be animal rights, or human rights, or the environment, I want people to live lives of love and choice. Not just have food, not just have a bed, not just have water. I want to be able to vote, to choose, to find a cause. So there's different levels. You see gradations of poverty as you get to philanthropy. There's basic needs, but then there's also soul and spiritual needs, and there's needs to be able to make choices about what your life and what to do. Having said that, I will say that some of the happiest people I've met have been people like me, pre-age 12, who had buck teeth, barely any food. They had their children around them, the biggest smiles, completely unwashed. What were they doing? Meals, spending time with their family. The divorce rate, not very high. There's a lot to be learned from philanthropy that we have to learn from other cultures and understanding what true wealth is. And one thing, if I can encourage one point of view today to walk out of here, is every trouble you have today is a luxury trouble. Gosh darn it, my cell phone's not working. I can't get in touch with this here. Oh my gosh, this isn't happening. Oh my gosh, the carpool didn't work. It's a luxury trouble. If you're going to get upset about your cell phone, then let's think about the Kenyan whose whole business is based on the cell phone, and he's trying to find out the prices to find out how he can market his fish. That is the person who should get upset about their cell phone because they're not going to be able to pay for their family's meal that evening. That person can get upset if your family is going to start from them. So this journey after the age of 12 from there, I went to Guatemala, and in Guatemala I saw glue. Well, what's the matter with glue? I'm in there, I'm helping de-lice children, so at this point I'm off all over the world, trying to serve and volunteer everywhere I can, trying to understand needs wherever they are and trying to help. But I'm walking down the street as I'm about to go to the shelter to shower and de-lice children, and I'm like, why are all these men, on the street taking naps with handkerchiefs over their mouth? Wait, is it hot here or what's going on? Are they trying to shield their faces or what's happening? They are stealing the shoe factory glue to pass out because they're in such pain that they haven't been at work, they have no opportunity to get rid of the pain. They'll take drugs just like us to get rid of the pain. You might be going through the pain of divorce or the pain of not having a job. But whatever it is, people will do that, and they're laid out there with these handkerchiefs on their face, passed out, to just get rid of the pain. And so here I am going to serve, and on my way to serve, there's ways to serve on the way. And that's one point I want to bring tonight. You're on your way to your volunteer opportunity, but how are we serving on the way as we get there? That's part of service too. It's not just at the volunteer opportunity. So my next trip is I went to India, and in India, faced one of the most beautiful situations. First of all, it scared me so much because I got to the community. They'd never seen anyone who was American. They were so excited. They put on a big celebration, and they wanted to honor me by making me look like them. They grabbed me, ripped off all my clothes right outside, dressed me up in all of their beautiful Indian garb. My hair went back, dot on my forehead, boom, here I am. I'm like 22. I'm like, Mom, like, what's happening to me? We did all these Indian dances. They put me up there like a princess, and they just honored us up there. It was just, and we go and we do a site visit, we visit, we don't realize how special it is. They had allowed us to enter into their community, and it was a beautiful celebration. 4 hours outside of Bangalore, I am out there working on microfinance. These women are treasuring jobs. It's amazing. And as I'm out there, two of the most devastating things I see is one, men with absolutely red eyes from crying so much. They cannot provide for their families from the crops. There are absolute droughts. When they do finally get extra seed in, they're in debt again and again and again. And there's a 25% suicide rate amongst male farmers in this rural village, not even urban, in this rural village, because they cannot help their families survive. And the honor and the shame, the dishonor, the shame, it's so overwhelming. They're like, what can I do? I can't provide for my family. The second thing, and I do caution you, this is challenging information, is in some very rural, remote communities, baby girls are taken care of in the stove. Cambodia, absolutely beautiful country. You have just amazing, you have this green land there that's incredible. And on it is, inside was the stupa with all of these skulls. And I said, gosh, your land is so lush. And I was saying that to you, that's because of all the people buried underneath it from Pol Pot's regime. So I got quite an education. It was so unbelievable to learn about all these atrocities and all these places that we don't even know are crises. We say there's a big crisis when there's a typhoon, but guess what? When I went to Lima, Peru, the 1 hour outside, the average number of children a woman has is 6. There's no job training centers. The dust from all the concrete has just blown up. It's like a polluted air, almost looks like a war zone. And most of the women are abused, and there's no shelter. Here we have these resources. I do give in my backyard. It's important. But what we have to realize is there are people who make choices, and you've got shelter to go to. What if you want to make the choice to go to a shelter, and there is none? That's a crisis 1 hour outside of Lima, but we don't think about that. So we have to think. That's one of the things you'll see with my organization, UniversalGiving, is we're highlighting crises that people don't know are crises across the world. This led to my life vision, and it was a life vision of service. And that's me down there, and I'm volunteering, I'm listening, I'm helping people. Here I am in Guatemala working on a sustainable farm, and I cannot tell you how instructive this was. This blew my mind away. We're so efficient. I love being efficient. But we're so efficient in the U.S. If we're going to plant corn, we're going to put 2 seeds in there in case one dies and we've got 1 seed in there. Americans tried to come in there and take away the fact that Guatemalans will quit putting 6 seeds in there. You're wasting the corn. But they're saying no. This is one for the person who is planting. This is one for their family. One for God. One to honor the people who are eating the corn, and one to honor the people in the marketplace, in our community. Don't take away these 6 corn kernels from us. This is part of our culture. This is part of our religion. This is part of our embodiment of who we are. We have to be careful when we go do all this good work to not too much take our sense of efficiency and take away part of that soul and that part of that family and that sense of community from what they need and what we should learn from. So this was one-on-one for me. But for me, I had to make a decision. I had to go into serving thousands of people. To me, it was just so important to realize I can go spend my life going and doing all these volunteer trips, or I can create something that would serve thousands of people across the world. And that led to Universal Giving. Can I use my business skills to create something that I can scale to thousands of people across the world? I've got a choice to live my life one-on-one, and I'll be very honest with you. I'm going to tell you the reason why I didn't do it. It was too lonely for me. You think, this topic tonight is about courage? There's some areas I just don't have a lot of courage. And I did not want to be on the road all the time, and I couldn't do it. I was going to miss my family, and so I had to make a decision. Okay, I'm going to use my business skills and scale to 1,000, or I can go devote myself to one-on-one going across the world. I have a lot of respect for the people who do that because I can't do it. I don't have that courage. And I encourage you, as you find your story, what is it that feels normal and natural for you? Because that is your calling. It's not what you should do. It's what your calling is. And so for me, it's connecting people to quality giving and volunteer opportunities worldwide. And what we do with Universal Giving Public, we allow you to go in and volunteer. You might volunteer in the Philippines or in Rwanda, or you can also donate. Give a ball and change a life as a sports gift, and that could be for $15 or $20, or rescue a Nepali girl from captivity. We do it for causeless, as embodies very much a lot of the mission of my own personal life. We do crisis giving, where you come in and you can actually give to Hurricane Sandy or the other crises. We go in to give a gift. And if you'll see this theme here, I'm looking for all the ways people can give so that we can meet any need and how people want to give. You give a gift, give it as, this is a great one. It's one of our most popular ones, sponsor a chimpanzee for animal rights. And you can give this gift as a birthday, anniversary gift. Maybe your son won a soccer championship. Give these gifts in different ways. Make people in your life think about gifts other than material ones. And so then you can give that and allow yourself to feel good and teach lessons to those around you in a very gentle way. Fund a project. This is something a little bit longer or more sustainable, where you might give a scholarship and it might cost more money. Their goal here is $25,000 for more scholarships for more girls and boys across the world. So it's something that's a little bit longer term or a well, something that would be more sustainable. And then finally, our gift certificates, where you can come in and highlight a project for wedding, anniversary, or birthday, and people can choose what they want to give themselves. And then finally, raise for a cause. This is so great to be able to raise for a cause. And in something like this, you can come up with a crisis page. You can say, come give to me on my birthday. These are all my chosen nonprofits. You can do it for your daughter's high school graduation, and she can put up all of her favorite nonprofits, what she wants people to fund. Doesn't mean you have to stop the material giving, but it's a yes and, as we say on the improv stage. When you're on doing improv, which I do on the side, whatever someone says on stage, you say yes. You don't say no. You say yes and that's if someone needs a material gift, great. We're going to do a yes and and adding some philanthropy here. So one of our favorite things is someone created a gift registry, which I thought was so great. They were in Norway, and I just love it. For their gift registry for their wedding, they gave to nonprofits in Brazil. That's exactly what we're headed to, this worldwide mission of connecting country to country, not just U.S. to one country. No, it's country to country. And they had done philanthropic work there. This is just my favorite slide. I want to make them do it again, but I'm not going to do that. But it's just showing that sense of they're giving their marriage to the world. That's what I felt. I just felt that was just such a lovely connection. And volunteering is our final service that we provide. And here we go with volunteering. You can help with women living with HIV. And what we do is we give you just quick facts, just very concise. One of the biggest things we've learned is that people are so overwhelmed with choice that what we can do is just give you a little bit, and then you can dip in for more information if you want. I mean, if you look at this, I studied shopping sites, I studied dating sites. The dating sites is so interesting. Matches all about boom, 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 boom. Here's your 60 matches for the day. But then if you look at Coffee Meets Bagel, they give you a match, only one, at noon. And if you miss it, you miss it. I was like, that's brilliant. We're going to send out a newsletter. Here's your project. You can fund it for 20 minutes and it's gone. I mean, the thing is you can learn so much from this and creating philanthropy and make it fun, right? I mean, I was thinking this the other day, and I was looking and studying all these women's sites, these pressure giving. I'm not a big shopper, and I look at these sites. They're like, you have 20 minutes to shop, and your shopping cart's going to be deleted. They deleted my shopping cart. I was like, they're like, you can add values back in, but it's gone now. I'm like, what do you mean it's gone? And I was like, I could do this for your speaking. You don't buy your things now, they're going to be gone. Won't be able to fund these kids, But I mean, the point is that, make a big guilt trip, right? I'm kidding. But my point is, we can be savvy businesswomen making philanthropy fun. It doesn't always have to be all serious. Yes, you've heard serious stories from me early on, but you also heard about chimpanzees, you know? I mean, it can all be good. We need to find that levity and that joy of giving in different ways. So what we really want to be is this go-to site in volunteering and giving all across the world. We're in 100 countries, we plan on getting in another 70, so we're just getting everywhere that we possibly can. My dream of dreams is to get the funding to be able to go into the hardest areas. Hardest areas meaning South Sudan, Syria, the outskirts of Lebanon, where a lot of the refugees are going in there. Very difficult to get that in. And it takes a lot more due diligence on our part to do that. It's highly cost intensive to go get to those NGOs and make sure it gets to them. And that's really my dream of where I'd like to head. So our vision is to create a world where giving and volunteering are a natural part of everyday life. I look at this and I think giving in your everyday life should be as natural as, you know, texting on your cell phone. If you can be on your cell phone and you can text, then it's important for you to give $5 a day. There's no reason why you can't do that. And so to me, it's like you're going to pay your electricity bill, your cell phone bill, you should be able to give. So our unique model is that we're 100%, we don't take a cut of the donation. We want your giving to be free and not to be penalized. We want it to go right directly to the people. All the orgs are vetted by our quality model. When I got back, I saw incredible fraud, and I also saw amazing leaders. But we've got to get it to the right leaders. And so we have a vetting stage. We start off with 6 stages: finances, terrorism, OFAC lists. But then we do what VCs do. And we go into that, and we look at what venture capitalists do. They say, good marketplace, good project or idea. What's the next thing a VC says? I want to meet the management team. We have a team of Walmart experts on the ground. We do Skype calls. We know the leaders. We need to know the leaders. The third thing is we have 2 services, giving and volunteering. You can come to one for both, and a huge boom for our nonprofits. They sign up in one place, they get both services. And we know giving and volunteering is very tied. Those who volunteer are much more likely to give. They're 2/3 more likely to give. So why not create 2 services and do that? Finally, the nonprofit is part of our brand. People are saying, how come you're not for-profit? How come you're not hybrid? And a lot of this is part of our brand is transparency. We're not here to take your money or to take a cut. So how do we survive? We fundraise, for sure we do that. We also have an optional tip on our site. It's interesting, 40% of people give to us as a tip, so that's another way that we gently fundraise. But then we also have Universal Giving Corporate. And what Universal Giving Corporate does is we create and manage CSR programs worldwide. So what we're doing here is going in and helping them with the strategy, the operations, and the NGO vetting. And what that really leads to is generating revenue for our NGO mission. So here we are offering this free service, but we're going into companies and helping them with all of their programs, and that helps. They pay us to do that. And they pay us for that NGO vetting. In fact, one of our clients, Cisco, liked our international vetting process so much that they apply it to all their domestic NGOs now. And that vetting to make sure that we prevent them and preserve their brand in associating with the top nonprofits. And that's what we hope to be as a model in social entrepreneurship for other nonprofits. So you can be smart, you can generate revenue, and you can offer a great service for free too. So with our NGO and our quality model, terrorist, narcotic vetting, compliance and Patriot Act, financial vetting, overhead, project success, and management leadership reviews, we've talked about this. A few of the items are our quality model is trademarked, and so we don't share everything with everyone because it's something that is secret to us. Simple clients include Cint, Sabre, Gap, RSF Social Finance, Floor, Sabre, Symantec. So those are a lot of the clients that work with us. Key milestones, homepage features on CBS, Oprah.com, invited to the White House, Ernst & Young Entrepreneur of the Year, and we've also got 15,000 volunteers. That's a big deal on the international front, because on the international front, when you look at it, people don't go on an international trip every year. So for us to get that amount in is people making that decision to go volunteer and decide to spend their lives that way. And it's wonderful for us to see. Average trips are usually about 2 weeks, but sometimes they stay for a year, especially when we go through economic downturns. Our volunteer side pops up because people rethink their lives and they go volunteer. So you get to think about that business. What's a good thing for us when the time is down? Volunteering goes up, giving might go down, but volunteering goes up. When times are good financially, giving goes up, volunteering goes down or stays a little midways. So it's good to watch that and that your business do that. And that's translated into $24 million worth of volunteer hours. So that's the amount of time that people spend on the ground. We're 50 people, we're a diverse workforce. Leadership and execution are extremely important to us. We look at that and we say, your positive attitude and leadership and your execution, those are the two things that allow us to hire you. We look at that with interns and when we have 50 people, 2/3 of those are interns and returnees. And we'll talk about that a bit today. The interns are people who are under 25, and then the returnees are people who are accomplished people who are either coming back in the workforce, want to make a career transition, or want to find meaning in a different way. And so these interns and returnees, they actually turn into our paid staff. We don't do interviews. You come in and you work with us, and some people, for example, there's a woman executive at NASA, and she works for us. She's an engineer. She doesn't want to do engineering. She wants to learn about corporate social responsibility. She's on a call with me at 8 o'clock in the morning before work, on the call with Samsung, helping lead a call in CSR. We are age agnostic, and what I mean by that, and I think we should look for this in meaning in our lives, we don't care about your age. There are people who've come through Universal Giving who are 60 and cannot execute well. There are people who are 18 who've been to 4 countries and helped volunteer all over the world and have amazing writing skills. If you can do it, we don't care how old you are, we'll put you to work and give you great experience. Our interns and returnees are outreaching to CBS News. They are on the call with Samsung. They are writing press releases. This is not a light internship. This is come in and make a difference, and we will help you if you also help the cause of Universal Giving. We also have this network of Universal Giving ambassadors that are all over the world pro bono for us, and they are promoting on Facebook. Africa right now, the whole continent for us is just taking off. There are people there who's like, I can't get into school, I can't go there, but I have internet access, can I help? They're posting on social media for us. They've got a cause, they're like, thank you for giving me a calling. And for us, we're like, great, they can post on social media, but they can't even get to school. The bus was full today. I couldn't make it to school. Can I help you? I look at that and I go, how can I help this young woman grow? How can I help her? I can build a resume and say, I'm going to help make you a social media expert. Let's groom you into making you a social media expert for Uganda. Ways to help people that way. So our internships and returnships provides high-level experience across major business units, marketing, SEO, product development, corporate social responsibility, internships. There are people in school, less than 5 years experience, and these returnships are people who are experienced. So what we really look for is that team is so important. Coming from that, I'd like to ask you now, that's my story. You've seen that, kind of that story from the buck-teeth girl in Mexico to where Universal Giving has led me. And what do you want to do with your life? And this is what we're going to close into now, is that as we look into this, we have your personal story, we're going to go into a ladder, and the right building. Because this is what you need to think about when you're thinking about giving back with your life. So on your personal story, that determines your ladder. It determines where you're going to climb up. And we have so much pressure in our lives from our parents, from our society, to make it big, to be a lawyer, be a doctor, to go up that ladder. And I encourage you, at whatever stage of life you're in, are you on the right ladder? Are you climbing up the right ladder right now? I'm telling you, I went through my midlife crisis at age 25. It was awful. I graduated from Duke cum laude. I left 4 jobs in 4 years, was out of work, was fired as a waitress because my hand shook. And I wanted to be a waitress because I wanted to serve. And the guy was, you're awful, you're just awful, get out of here now. It was devastating. I couldn't even get a job that way. But I pushed myself. My dad and I went through my midlife crisis at the same time. He went through his. He didn't go through mine. Well, maybe he did as a dad. Who knows? But I was 25. He was 55. He was happy. And we helped each other during that time. And I went through it early. And I got on my path early, but it was a painful 4 years. You might go through several midlife crises. It's okay. Get on the right ladder. Get on the right ladder. Get up the right building. And you've got to figure out what you're climbing to. And what is the point of this ladder? It's ascending stages by which you progress. Where are you progressing to? And where are you climbing to? How are you growing? I love this slide. This is so great. But, you know, I look at the way you're growing. Look, there's Ellen DeGeneres, and there's Obama, and there's Oprah, and Jimmy Fallon. Who do you want to grow into? If you want to be grown to a great comedian, great. Where are you growing? What do you want to be? Where are you growing? And by the way, I told my assistant who does my slides, I said, I don't want to see these slides before you surprise me. Come up with flowers and people's heads on them and show me what you do. I think she's going to do a great job. I love to be surprised. It's good. It keeps you on your Okay. So here's your ladder. And as you climb your ladder, it might be that. Or your ladder might look like that. Or it might be super regal. Or it might be a little bit. don't worry, you're going to rebuild those rings, okay? You'll rebuild them. You also have to choose the right building in which you properly live. What is this organization you're working for? Is it something up in the sky? Is it down to earth? Is it cultural? Is it agricultural? Is it downtown? Is it in South America? Where is this building? You don't have to accept exactly how this world works, California, San Francisco, Mill Valley. Decide what ladder, decide what building. Your life is precious. You're here for a reason. Whatever your ladder is, it's beautiful to you. It's great, and that's part of your spark. This is another one I wanted to surprise me on. Look at the sparks, aren't they great? They're so great. I was like, I know you're going to do a great job on this. You have to think about your story as a is that gets you going every day, that makes you excited. It doesn't matter how tough universal giving is some days. Every day I wake up, I'm like, thank you, I just love what I do. I love what I do. Your spark leads to your service. Relationship between equals, our service strengthens us as well as others. Never seen a definition like this. I'm going to thank Jermaine again. She's my executive assistant intern. She came up with this definition. I'm like, where did you get that definition? I said, put up a definition, a dictionary definition of service, and she found this. Beautiful. We don't think of service that way. What do we think of it as? Oh, I'm coming in and I'm serving you. No, it's not. No, it's not. You are really being served. You go into that community with absolute humility. Thank you for accepting me into your community, into your organization. And how can I serve today? Not just, I'm Joe Schmo, woman, and I've got this, and you're planning, and I need to make sure this is revamped. And I was in Nicaragua, we were rebuilding the school there, and we ran out of hammers. And to go get a hammer, the hammers broke, so we had to travel 6 hours. There's no tool shop there. 6 hours to get a hammer. And what are the Americans doing? They're fretting. They're feeling unproductive. They're like, oh my gosh, what can we do? We can't do anything. And they're like, we just want you to sit down and talk with us and play with our children. And could you come to my home and sit in the tent with me and just be with me and eat a meal with me? But we had to be productive. No, you don't need to be productive to serve. You need to listen. The most important thing you do before you serve is gratitude. Absolutely gratitude, of being grateful for everything that you have. We have choices in our lives. We have opportunities to choose where to go to dinner, to live, what to do in life. You have a husband or a partner, an apartment or a home, a dog, cat, bird, horse, or iguana that loves you unconditionally. I don't know what your pets are, but they could be all different ones. Your family nearby. I'm grateful that my family's here. Children, a nephew or a niece, a job, faith, nature. So much. You have to be grateful before we go serve. Then you think, how am I going to serve? The first level of service is informal. This is about family. I can't emphasize this enough. We want to go do that volunteer opportunity. Have you taken care of your family first? That's the first question I ask. That is the first thing. I look at that, and my team knows. My nephew's game is at 3:30 on Friday. I do not miss that. Occasionally, but very rarely, I work late on Thursday nights. I'm there to see Will. Connor's got soccer. Lindsay has volleyball. You make it there. You serve your family first. Be present for your kids when you get home. I haven't had kids yet. This is something I'm going to have to practice what I preach, but I try to do it with what I have right now. And I leave work early. I leave it early. If my dad has a birthday, if the kids have a game, I've taken care of those kids once a week ever since they've been born. Try to putting dinner and meals on the table, helping your neighbor, being patient with your children, putting brunch on for your community, being kind to your partner, listening to your needs. Those are the kind of things we don't think about. There's service. We can't go volunteer. Volunteering is because why? The family broke down. That's why we're volunteering, because that family wasn't there. You've got to take care of your own family first. I am with Connor. I'm taking him to a soccer game that he wanted to go to. It's attending your nephew's football game. Actually, we're watching a soccer game, but we're trying to be as truthful as we can here. Smiling at a homeless person, helping a younger coworker with a question that seems easy to you. Wow, how many times have we become impatient with this? Why aren't they getting it? We need to serve. These are ways, I've asked to talk about service tonight. Before we get into volunteering, these are ways that you can serve. You look at this, being patient, it's not cutting people off in traffic because you need to get to a meeting, or you need to get to that volunteer not pushing in on a yellow light, being patient in a grocery store line. This is the thing of being kind to your line neighbor. Why can't you during that time? Maybe that person behind you is going through a divorce. Maybe she's upset too that she's in a long line. Ask her how her day is. When I talk to the checkers, I call them by name. Oh, how'd you know my name? I'm like, it's right here. Activities. Church, PTA, book club, yoga class, improv, nap, speak to me events. What do you need to do to nourish you? Before you go serve on that volunteer opportunity, make sure those things are in your life. If you need a nap, take a nap. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm going to tell you a powerful lesson about a dishwasher because this is about serving my family. I'm basically the kind of keynote dishwasher in my family, and especially for big family events, and when you've got 22 people, it's been a lot. I don't mind doing that at all. I'm not a mom yet, so I do it every time, and I love doing it. There was one night I was tired, and I was just thinking about it, and this was actually just a normal night when I was having dinner with my parents, and I was just tired doing it, and I was like, you know, this really isn't acceptable to me, Pamela, your mindset on this. And I timed myself. It takes 3 minutes to unload a dishwasher for a family of 5. You gonna complain about that, Pamela? I don't think so. The next time you're emptying a dishwasher, and I've unloaded a lot of them as an aunt and all of that, I just tell myself, 4 minutes of my time, I'm glad to serve my family. We have to serve, not just in our actions, not just get the dishwasher done, shoot. No, it's get the dishwasher done because I'm glad we have the dishes and we're provided this meal for my family. The second level of service is formal. It's a volunteer opportunity. Try an opportunity for a while. You don't have to commit immediately. Have written expectations so it's clear to the nonprofit and to you. If you want to do it as an individual or a group, regular basis or one-off, those are key things to think about. Skills fit and mission alignment. All those things are important. Don't just go in and say it sounds good. It's a job, and a great job, but it is a job. You need to figure out what works for you. And you want to do it in person or virtual, start out with a few hours and take your time on it. And also, then you can always increase it if you want. Set a clear timeline, under-promise, over-deliver. And remember, you've got to get back, marry your story. Why are you involved in this? Why are you doing this? And marry your story with your calling. And that is what will allow you to succeed and to create a world where giving and volunteering are a natural part of everyday life. And you'll do that in your own lives as well. And so as you begin climbing your ladder and living your spark, I look forward to seeing you live a life of love, all these loving people in your life, and to see you succeed in service, but more importantly, I want to see you succeed in life. It's not just about volunteering. It's about succeeding in life. And when you talk about service, it's about being a successful person. Thanks for having me tonight.